When you're getting ready to play a non-FBS program, especially one that's been as successful as Coastal, how much time do you spend with your players kind of briefing them on the opponent's tradition and history?
Out of respect for all opponents, I do it with each team that we're playing. With the mentality that every game is the biggest game of the season. You got to respect everybody that you're playing. But in particular, this bunch, I had a chance to coach against Coach Beck when he was at Ohio State, and got a tremendous amount of respect for him. He's done a great job, and I was, I know Coach Chadwell well, and they've done a great job down there at Coastal for years. So you got a group that's confident. They're used to winning. They've been to 4 straight bowl games, and in particular, our performance in the last 10 road games versus non-Power 5s hasn't been good. So it's more just focusing on us, but having a healthy respect and understanding of who our opponent is.
Okay, great. Or sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Coach, in terms of Chris Tyree, we saw him almost hit the big play. Obviously, comes back with a hold. Is it a process for a coaching staff when you got a guy who's that versatile to kind of feel out exactly how you want to use him?
The biggest thing with Chris is just getting him comfortable, with the system. And I think there's a lot of flexibility. And as he continues to, just grow within the offense, I think you'll see more opportunities. I hate that one was called back, but, we held on the perimeter and the referee did their job. But it was good to see him. What I felt like is you're just starting to see more confidence. As I said, as he continues to grow with his level of comfort with the offense, I think you'll see more opportunities for him. And, the more that he can absorb, the more we'll be able to find different ways to get the ball in his hand.
Richmond, he had the drops, and it seems like his role has been kind of expanding. And did you sense any frustration from him that he hasn't had the impact yet?
No, Chris is first and foremost one of the best human beings I've been around. He's an unbelievable young man. He carries himself the right way. He's a very unselfish guy. And the best thing about what he did is he said, you know what, I'm gonna focus on me and what I need to do to get better. And I think that's why you're seeing his confidence, continue to grow. And then the same thing on punt return. He's each time he catches one, he just becomes more confident, and that's going to be another way for him to touch the ball and impact the game. And he was close on kickoff return. I challenged him a little bit to run through that last defender, but you're just starting to see him become more comfortable in understanding that pressing is not going to get the job done. You just gotta work every single day, and eventually the plays will come to you.
Greg.
Yeah, along the lines of the question that Jeff just asked you, I think new college football playoff era, the expansion. How would you talk to your team about that and what this means for a group of 5 teams to host a power conference opponent and what a win over a power conference means for them long term?
Great question. Don't want to talk about it too much, but I do want to, acknowledge it. I'd rather them hear it from me than from everybody else, on the outside, and let the message be clear. And so the message was that this football team we're getting ready to play believes they have a path to the playoff, which they do. And if they win every game on their schedule and they beat a Power 4 at home, then they're going to have a chance to get into the playoffs. So it's a prideful bunch down there that's playing for a lot, and we need to make sure that we don't focus too much on them, but we also, we don't buy the lie. Right, and the lie is that it's a group of 5, and you should just be able to show up and win. You're seeing it all across the country with non-Power 4 teams beating Power 4 teams, and you'll see more of it. I think there's when you look at their roster, right? They got a lot of Power 4 transfers that want an opportunity that are down there playing, and they got an experienced bunch, and they know how to win. They're confident. They've taken care of business in their first 3 games, and done it in a respectable fashion. So they know. Right now the question is, okay, how are they going to respond to the information that they receive? Are they going to choose? And really the challenge was, let's be different. If we just look at us, like let's focus on us in the last 10 true road games versus, non-Power 5, 4 and 6. So we want to be different, and we want to change things. And it starts with, us taking care of what we need to take care of from a preparation standpoint to go 1-0 this week. And if we do that, But don't think we're just going to roll the ball out there and this team's going to lay down and not show up. And they're playing at home. They got a sold-out crowd. Homecoming, I believe. They got Parents Weekend. They got a bunch of stuff. We're trying to get extra tickets. We don't have enough tickets for ourselves because they got a big crowd. I mean, it's going to be a fun environment. But those guys are going to come out that locker room believing that they're going to win the game. And so we have to have a greater level of belief. But we also got to go out and we got to bring that belief into action and do what we need to do, play in and play out to put ourselves in position to win.
They're the top 20 in the country in turnover margin.
Yeah.
What are you noticing about the way they disrupt offenses?
Yeah, and we're actually at the bottom. We talked about that. So there's a lot that we talked about over the course of the first couple of days of preparation, just to know the opportunities that we have to get better. But you know, they got a deep defensive line. They move around well. They get to the quarterback. They disrupt him. They get him off the spot. You know, they force him to make off-platform plays. And then when they put the ball up in the air, their guys come down with it. And then they do a great job offensively of taking care of the ball. You know, and that's where, you know, we got to get better. We got to create more turnovers. Right, and then we got to do a better job of taking care of the football.
Jack.
When you look at Anthony Colandrea and his style of play, what is the challenge? Because he's going to be the guy who's going to make those low probability big plays, but then you don't want to take that away from that. So as a coach, do you just kind of live with it? Do you help him balance it? How do you approach it?
Yeah, you gotta help him balance it, and you know, he and I just sat down and talked, and really it was, okay, what'd you learn? Right, what'd you learn from the game? Okay, and what he's learning is that there's some plays, man, you just gotta let them die, right? And then some plays, you know, you want to keep them alive, and that's where, you know, through experience he'll figure out that balance, right? Because if we tell him, well, you know, don't keep plays alive, then that takes away, you know, a lot of, you know, what makes him special. So I think you got it. And then I pointed out too, you know, I went back to 2016 with Deshaun, and Deshaun threw 17 interceptions that year, right, and still won a national championship, right? So you can't take it away from him, right, but you still got to coach him through, and hopefully, you know, as he continues to gain experience, you know, he'll be able to self-reflect and say, okay, this is where I did not maybe do the best job in preparation, right? So, okay, that's the area that I want to go attack, okay? And then, okay, this was a decision that I shouldn't make, all right? So then what was I thinking? How do I correct it? But then also, like, the pick that he threw over on the sideline where he was trying to get the ball to Kobe, right? Like, he wants that one back. But, man, as coaches, the play before that when he was scrambling, Malachi popped wide open, and you want him to throw it, right? So, like, you can't. You know, you just got to coach him through it, and as long as he takes ownership, which he will, and there's nobody that wanted to win that game more than AC, and there's nobody that was more disappointed that we didn't win the game than AC, and so we'll coach him and we'll balance it, but we're not going to take away what makes him special. We'll just use every opportunity to learn and present it to him, and hopefully he receives it, responds the right way, which I believe he will, and you'll see him improve.
And just the health on the team.
Yeah. Yeah. So you know, good probability. Cam Robinson could be back this week. Ty will be down. You know, actually it was a little more serious than what I was initially thinking. You know, I hadn't followed up. I came in right after I talked to the team. I came into y'all, but he'll probably be down this week. You know, we lost Charlie last week Charlie Patterson to an ankle sprain. He'll be down for a couple weeks. Obviously, Ethan Sipe with the broken bone in his foot, he's down. I think the biggest one coming out of the game was Ty, and maybe Keandre Dre Walker. You know, he's probable for this weekend. Hopefully he'll be ready to go. But he's got an ankle leg, you know, slash injury that he went down with. I'm trying to think of those. Let me look at the depth chart. I think. Oh yeah, Sedarian will probably be down another week with his hamstring, but he's progressing well. I think defensively, Boley's closer. You know, Boley's closer. So I don't know if it'll be this weekend, but he's almost back.
And Stevens left again.
Yeah, Stevens will be fine. Yeah, Stevens will be fine.
Jeff.
In Sackett and Eli Wood, you have brothers who each joined the program, and walk-ons that have work their way into the rotation at their positions. What's it been like coaching them, and given your background as a college player, you have a special appreciation for walk-ons who end up making an impact like that?
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun guys to coach because they're extremely intelligent. You know, very very accomplished academically, man. But they're also football guys. Like they just love football. They love being a part of the team. They'll do whatever you ask them to do. You know, there's no question. There's no why, coach. It's like, yes, sir, and they're going to go do it with everything that they have, and it's made their teammates better. You know, being brothers, you don't quite see them as much together as you would think. Like they kind of have their own personalities and their own friend groups within the team. But you know, they're brothers. But you know, Sackett's kind of let Eli grow up a little bit on his own instead of being that hovering big brother. And it's been fun to watch, you know, all the older tight ends that didn't know each other this time last year. Now they're probably the tightest group on the team. That's been fun to watch. Eli is hilarious, right? And he doesn't know it. Like he's one of those guys. Like he's funny and doesn't even realize it. Just, you know, because of his temperament. Both of them probably, you know, now that you look at them, we're good enough to go play, you know, somewhere, you know, as a scholarship guy, and just chose to come to UVA, and I'm excited to have those guys on the team. And you know, I got an appreciation for walk-ons. You know, having started as a recruited scholarship guy, going out to Air Force, and then transferring to Clemson, and kind of walking on, and then becoming a scholarship guy there. You know, I have an appreciation, and that's why we treat our walk-ons the way we treat our walk-ons. We don't treat them, you know, like they're walk-ons. They're on the team. You know, they're treated just like the scholarship guys. They get, you know, everything that the scholarship guys. We don't have a hierarchy in terms of, you know, because they're all part of the team. But yeah, I do have a special spot in my heart because they're choosing, right? Like you know, you look at a scholarship guy, they're recruited, right? And then they do choose, but like all the schools choose them and offer them scholarships. These guys choose to come here. Man, some of them are, you know, putting themselves, you know, in debt with student loans to be here, right? And they're just happy to be on the team and try to work their way up, and they have an appreciation for maybe the smallest role, but it would be the biggest thing in the world to them. And so it's always a great reminder too for the guys that are recruited that man, you know, if you truly love this game, man, you do it for free. Right, you would do it, you know, just like a walk-on would do it, and I use them as examples to challenge the guys to have a certain level of appreciation for the opportunity and the blessings that they have.
Yeah, going back to Chris Tyree,
yep.
Y'all got him the ball first play on both last two games. Just what does that do for him as far as just getting involved into the offense?
Yeah, I mean, you want to try and get them all if you could, like, and you had your pick. You know, you would just go like play after play. All right, let's get this guy a touch, this guy a touch, this guy a touch. Get them all involved in the game early, because I think, you know, your playmakers, the quicker they touch the ball, the more they kind of, you know, they get, you know, into the game. But it doesn't always work out that way. So you try to script, and you know, the first play was more so the progression led to him, not necessarily a designed specific play. The toss sweep is a design play. You know who it's going to, but on that first play of the game, it could have went, you know, to a lot of different guys. It just so happened the defensive structure, you know, put it in Chris's hands.
A little off topic, but
yep.
The guys talk about they have an NCAA college football, you know, online dynasty that they have with each other. Have you had a chance to play the game? And just kind of your thought about seeing it kind of come back into the
so I think I've played it twice. Once with my sons, and then Ben Smiley beat the brakes off of me one day in the and I told him, I said, the game's rigged. You know, I'm playing it like a coach. Like, you shouldn't have been able to make that play, man. It's cover 2, and I got the right call. There's a glitch, but I don't have time. But it's cool because I remember as a player when I was in college, you know, it was still a thing, and man, you took pride in just, being on a video game. And I think, if we're all being honest, everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame. Like we all want to feel, relevant and to matter and to be on a video game that's being played all over the world. It's pretty cool. But yeah, they know they play all the time. They know all the tricks. They know all the computer glitches. So after Ben beat me up pretty good, I said, no, I'm not going to challenge these guys. I'm going to stick to playing my sons who might not quite be as versed in the game. Maybe I can win one. But they're getting pretty good at it too.
Jerry.
I know the offensive line is still not 100%, but where would you assess where they are at this point, and is it where you thought they would be?
Yeah, to answer that question, honestly, it's kind of like defensively last year with all the injuries. We're down, several scholarship, guys that we were counting on, a couple of transfers that we counted on, coming in here and contributing right away that are down with season-ending injuries, and then losing Hartso, who was a guy who had elevated himself to be a very viable option for us inside. He's down for the season. And so trying to just play guys in different spots. I'm really proud of Coach Heff of managing that, because you're constantly trying to find the best five to put out there. But I feel like, with Jack starting at left tackle, for 3 games, and he was a tight end a year ago. And then you got a little bit of experience on the right side, and then Josie, but you just don't have the depth right now. But they've given us a chance in every game. We won a couple games with those guys, and my hope is that as we continue to progress in the next couple of weeks, we could start getting some bodies back just to give us the depth. So overall, they're giving us a chance, but in fairness to them, man, it's been a chess match trying to figure out, the moving parts. And then, as soon as you kind of get settled in, bang, one goes down. He gets banged up. And then now that doesn't just affect that position. It might affect other positions, because what you have available, maybe a guy that's more versed and trained to play another spot, but you're having to put him in there because he's the next man in the rotation. But man, they're giving everything they got. Right. Now, are there things that we got to fix? Yeah, we got to fix our pad level. Right. We got to, make sure from a communication standpoint that we're communicating the calls to everybody up front. But they've given us a chance in all 3 games, and that's all you can ask. And we'll keep pressing them to improve, and then hopefully over the next couple of weeks we'll get some guys back and be a little bit more, have a little bit more depth to help us out.
When you reviewed Saturday,
Yep.
It seemed like in the first half you guys were having a lot of success running the
Yeah.
football with Pace and X Brown. They had 14 carries for 70-something yards in the first half.
Yeah.
Those guys got 4 carries in the second half.
Yeah.
The game was never out of reach. What changed? Was
Yeah.
it something Maryland did, or why did you guys give up?
No, so going back and watching the first half, we were very effective on possession and 10 downs, right? So coming out of possession on those first plays, we were effective, whether it was run or pass, which allowed you to get into a rhythm. We were able to play with some more tempo, right? In the second half, we just couldn't find that rhythm, and then we had the turnovers, right? Possessions cut short. And when you're playing behind the sticks, and you felt like the game was never out of reach, but like we knew that we needed to generate some momentum. We just never could settle in from there. So it was more just a function of, and Maryland did a good job. You got to tip your hat to Maryland. They didn't turn the ball over, right? They made good adjustments, and then their guys settled in. Right. So if you look at the first half early on, like the shout out to the student section, because the noise was a factor. Early on we had a couple false starts, and they were kind of out of sync, and then they found their sync. Whereas we, outside of the possessions and the turnovers in the first half, like we're moving the ball, we're having success. We got better rhythm, and then we just weren't able to. Once we went to the half, we weren't able to come out and establish that rhythm, and then started pressing a little bit. Right, to try and get into rhythm, which you gotta fight that urge, all the way around. And then we didn't have the explosive plays, and I think the explosive plays, help your run game as well, right? So we weren't generating those in the second half, and just couldn't find a rhythm to be able to reestablish the run, as opposed to when we had a rhythm, right, and we were having success on P&10s, right, getting that first, that first play out of the change of possession, having a positive play, typically led to success the rest of the drive, and we lost that in the second half and just couldn't get much established.
And then I didn't chart this, I don't know exactly, but anecdotally it felt like Calandria, they were flushing him to his right in the first half, and then they got him going to his left. Now, I know he goes back and forth, so it's possible that I lost
Yeah,
track.
he goes
what
all over
did they do,
the place.
To get him, kind of forcing him to his left? What adjustments did they make?
Yeah, I don't know if it was anything specific to force him to the left, because, when you're forced, it's a breakdown somewhere, right? And so the breakdowns, where they did a good job, but then also, from a technical standpoint, we didn't do some things well and lost some one-on-ones. And so they, like I said, their guys settled in when we kind of unraveled, if that makes sense. And we lost pad level. We lost leverage on some blocks that led to guys being turned loose, right, or him feeling the pressure. Right, we got him hit early too. I think we got to do a better job of making sure we protect our quarterback, because even on the first play of the game he got hit, right? And anytime a quarterback gets hit, like he feels that, right? And then he got hit a couple more times, but we were having success. And then in the second half we weren't able to overcome that. So I don't know if there's anything in particular to force him to go to his left. But it was more like we had breakdowns in different spots that resulted in, flushing one way or another.
Greg?
Saw Cam Courtney make a long catch in the game. What are you seeing from him in practice, and how is his development coming?
Yeah. What you saw on Saturday was what we've seen, all through camp up until he went down for a little while with injury. And so then he was out for a couple of weeks. And he's for a freshman or a first year. He's a developed guy. He's strong, fast, really football smart, has savvy, and that's what we saw. And so he proved to everybody, which we thought we knew, but the lights weren't going to be too big for him, and we'd seen that, but there was a time where he was down, and so he missed, about 2.5 weeks of practice, and so now he's starting to get his legs back underneath him. Now he's caught back up from a playbook standpoint, and then obviously with Sedarian being down, he was the next man up, right? And just proud of him and happy for him to go make a couple plays, because with Sedarian, being down this week as well, like he's right there behind Chris Tyree.
You talk about kind of sitting down with Anthony after last game. What do you learn about a guy, especially like him, after mistakes like that and after going through some bad plays and hardships in the game? Yeah,
you're gonna learn how he responds. And as a coach, it's my job, and Coach Kitch and Coach Lamb, to help him grow, right, and just present him and point out opportunities for improvement. But just talking with him, like, he understands, the mistakes that he made, and he's going to take ownership, and he's already gone back to work to correct those mistakes. And that's really all you can ask for, right? And it's a little bit different now, when you're the starter, right? When you're the backup, people give you a little bit more grace, right? Now every mistake is going to be scrutinized. And so that's why I kind of shared just experiences that I've had with other quarterbacks, right? Because, we expect perfection, but it can't be achieved, right? So there's always going to be mistakes at every position throughout the course of a game. It's just, do you have that desire to self-reflect, to figure out how you can get better so that you can go work on eliminating that mistake so you don't make the same mistake twice. And just his demeanor and body language, has told me that, man, he's taking full ownership of it and wants to play his best week in and week out, and just is learning and maturing in, okay, when can I keep a play alive? When do I not need to press, right? And then how do I manage the new position that I'm in, right? Because it's a new position for him because he is, the full-time, starting quarterback. And so the questions are a little bit different, that people are asking him. The eyes are on him a little bit different. His teammates, are now looking, at him a little bit differently. And those are all things that whether you play well or whether you have a game where you may not play your best, you're still going to have to mature and grow through those things.
Let's go Jackie and then Chris.
Heading into the season, you had questions at corner. Now that you had a few games, what have you seen from that group?
Yeah.
And have you liked to kind of develop a base season?
Yeah, I mean, you watch them. They've been challenged. They've been challenged to come up and tackle, right? And they've also been challenged down the field. And for the most part, with the exception of a couple of plays that they want back, I feel like they've downed the ball pretty good. They supported the run the way they need to support the run, and they're making guys, for the most part, make competitive plays, and go back to Wake Forest, man, Jam was in position. Those guys made great plays. The tight end on the sideline, Jam's in position. That guy made an exceptional play. And, what I'm hopeful for is that they'll continue to be in position, and then through improvements in confidence and experience, then they'll make those competitive plays. But for the most part, they've been in position. They've supported the run, so I've been pleased. I want Dre to kind of get back healthy, fully healthy, so he can go and help us from a rotational standpoint. But I've been pleased, with those guys overall.
Coach, how would you evaluate the red zone part of the equation?
Yeah.
Just whether that's execution or play calling. And when it's second goal at the 2, do you ever give any thought to just Grady Bunch 3 times in a row when you're not close to the goal line?
Yeah, I mean, you do. You think about it, but we had an RPO, right? And we didn't block the A-gap defender up front. So, it's a good thing that AC pulled the ball, because if he hands it, we're going to have a TFL. And that's just lack of execution, right there. We got to coach better and perform better in that situation. Split was a little bit tight, right? So there's some details on that slant route there. But again, it's still risky with the Grady Bunch too, because that's a scrum and that ball you're putting that ball in jeopardy, right? So 3 times in a row, I wouldn't feel as confident calling it 3 times in a row, but you also want to reward the other guys too, that have gotten the ball down there. But we got to evaluate it, and there are a couple of things from a play calling standpoint that we've addressed and said we got to do better. Right, just from just a big picture understanding of the concept, and maybe it's one that we need to get rid of. So we're having those discussions, as a staff and evaluating it. But the objective is to score every time you're down there. And right now we just we're not hitting our percentage of touchdowns, which impacts games, because if you go down there twice and you come away with 14 points as opposed to 6. It's a little bit different. It changes the dynamics of the game potentially. And so we're evaluating that. We're evaluating third down too, right? We've kind of masked it in a couple games because we've been so explosive, and we've overcome it with the explosiveness. But we got to do a better job. But that goes back to being efficient. When we're efficient on first down and second down, and we get it to a third and short, third and medium, much higher percentage of conversion as opposed to when you're sitting back there 3rd and 7 and 10, right? You're not gonna convert at a high rate in 3rd and 7 and 10. So we've identified what the factors are, and now we have to just go to work to improve those.
Sure.
Last week, Des mentioned he was anxious to see how you guys would handle Maryland's man coverage as opposed to what you've seen before.
Yeah.
How do you feel like you fared against that, and what is Coastal? A lot of man?
Yeah, so Coastal's gonna mix it up, but they are gonna play some man coverage and from a press alignment. And I thought we won some of the one-on-one matchups, and when we won, we didn't quite have the protection or the throw, right? And then when we had the protection and ready for the throw, we didn't necessarily win. So we got to continue to challenge our guys. I think we have the personnel to be able to beat man coverage. I mean, you've seen Terrell be able to run by people You've seen Malachi, he was able to get open versus a man. We just, but it takes all 11, right? So I felt like we did a fairly decent job, but there's some things we can do from a play calling standpoint, and then also from just a teaching standpoint and developmental standpoint. Because again, as we progress in the season, we're going to see more man coverage, and where we're trying to go to win, where we're trying to go, you got to be able to beat man coverage. So it was a good early test for us. We're going to see a little bit more of it this week. I doubt people are going to, after seeing how Malachi came out the gate with soft coverage, I'm pretty sure people aren't going to just give us easy access throws. So he's going to have to work. But I believe that Trail and Chris and Cam and the rest of the guys can win versus man coverage. But we got to put it all together. We got to be able to protect long enough to be able to make the throw. And then the throw's got to be more accurate. That's the difference when you're throwing versus zone and throwing versus man coverage, right? Versus man coverage, it's a much tighter window. So the ball's got to be, extremely accurate. Whereas you got a little bit more room for error when you're zone where, if it's not a perfect pass, you still have the ability to make a non-contested catch and make your quarterback right. When it's man coverage, if you're off with the ball, it could result in a turnover.